Rick himself may not even return to the grid until after 2023. Like, that is crazy. He might not be here in 2023. That is crazy. We were just talking about Danny Rick literally not belonging out of Formula One. And here it is. He's going to be out of Formula One for a spell. Many people, including journalists in F1 that cover the races, even Will Buxton said, which I don't agree with a lot of things he says sometimes, he double backed on a couple of things, but he made a point to say that if Danny Rick indeed leaves Formula One, it is not a good idea for him to go and sit on the couch. It was already what's up, Dark Ghost? It was already kind of a bittersweet move for him to go to a reserve driver. And here it is now. He's talking about not even being here 2023. I don't see that being a good idea. I don't see it being a good idea for this main reason. You are as good as your last work. You got to update your resume. And Danny Rick's current resume is not that great, but it's not an indictment on him as an entire driver because he's done some good things. I'm not going to say great things, but Danny Rick's done some good things with some teams. He's proven. What's up, G5MD? Oh, y'all, the fan pouring up in here heavy. Danny Rick has done some good things. So for us to be in the same day we were talking about earlier, him not being out of Formula One, he himself is looking at not being in Formula One next season. He might even be toying with the whole idea of retirement. I mean, if he chooses to retire, that is his own choice for probably his own reasons, just like Sebastian Vettel came out with his whole, I'm retiring situation, which retirement these days can be kind of funny, right? They can say they retired and they come back, then they leave, then they come back. Retirement's not like it used to be. It used to be you retired, you was gone, right? You was gone. Then Jordan, he leaves, comes back, not as great as he was, but I just don't think this is a good idea, all right? I think he needs to stick in there. If there's nothing available, we talked about this, right? We talked about this. We decided that at least he could take a seat at Williams or Haas. But before we get into all, let's go ahead and check out some of these updates. It's not a lot of updates, so we're going to check some of these out. It's not a lot. We're going to go ahead and start. I don't even know why it will start right there. We're going to start with Ferrari first and foremost. That's what we'll start with. We'll cycle back to the front. So let's start with Ferrari. Ferrari bringing their most recent floor revision. Now, some of these arrows do not directly indicate what exactly has been changed. Some of these arrows are areas that I think I found they made little nuances, but Ferrari is running a revised floor with geometry changes front and rear for the race, all right? They are doing that. So we'll look at some pictures, check out some of these nice little dope shots of the cars, especially in Japan, and check these things out. The floor does look good. Ferrari, when they first came out, when they launched the new variation of these cars for the new regulations, I thought Ferrari was the most sexiest, and then Aston, and then it was Mercedes, all right? Here you see now the beam wings have definitely been a focus this season, right? Beam wings have been a focus this season. Now, originally, the beam wings were supposed to be set up kind of almost similar to where Ferrari has theirs set up now. Two different components, but kind of acting as one surface, all right? And that's kind of what Ferrari's running. And if you look here, I think they got a bit different wing. It looks like a bit more curve in that center section to me, but definitely low down force on that. And then here is a main section of the floor for the rear geometry. You could tell, one, look at the stay, and then two, look at this flat portion really near the coke and cover section, the coke section. And as we move down from there, here you go, you can see the difference. The stay is relocated. You could tell the difference in that surface area. All right, you can even see where it really kind of comes up, and you see the vinyl or the wrap where it kind of comes into the floor. But that is I know you probably think like that's subtle, but that's a definite change and could yield very good results, all right? So we'll see what happens with Ferrari when they get there. And we definitely going to kick it back up on some more of the damn Danny Rick situation. So let's check out some more shots. Here we go, AlphaTauri. their front wing setups. Okay, they got two different variations there. That bottom one, I think, is the most recent. That top one is one we've seen. I call it the platypus front. And there you go. You can see them from the front. So those are two variation front wings that they have there sitting up there in the paddock. Now here is Aston Martin has done something to their beam wing sections for less drag reductions. So that they're focusing in on the beam wing as well. Then we come into Alfa Romeo. They've done something and reprofiled the front of their front wing section, doing a little bit different things, a little bit different bits here. Here's some shots right there. Just paying attention. Now, if you notice, they're not running the same rear wing that they were running when Aston came out with their high drag wing. Okay, that also has been banned for the next season, but they will be allowed to run. Listen, Aston Martin's wing has been banned, therefore it will not be allowed next season, but they are going to be allowed to run it for the duration of this season. So cut all the crap out with the Mercedes DAS shit. Mercedes DAS was outlawed or banned, but they still were able to use it. And then it was banned. They couldn't have it anymore. This happens. Teams get very innovative. They get very creative, and they find ways to stay within the rules and the regs. But then the FIA kind of looked like that's not what we intended. And we didn't foresee anybody doing that type of adjustment or modification to kind of stay within the rules, the confinements. So we need to restructure a way to incorporate that into what's not allowed. So you can have it this season, but you will not be able to have it next season. This happens. Stop playing around. So no, I didn't say Red Bull brought any updates. I explained that. I explained that like all pictures are not indication of updates. Some pictures are indications of things I think may have changed or things that are interesting to me. Alfa Romeo did bring updates. Also, I noticed on their side pod section, it's not the same as it was when they brought those little bits and were trying out those unpainted pieces. So some of those things have changed. They're not there. Also, I think a little bit changed on their front fencing area reprofile. I like the teardrop section right there. Also, here we go. Williams did a cooling level, so they want to reduce the cooling level, so the louvers up on the engine cover are not there. I'm just pointing out the fence section, how that changed over time. I like the Williams theme. I like the Williams whole scheme. I like the blue and the black. Now, initially, we know they said they were removing some of this covering to save weight reduction, but I don't know how much that actually helped them. But it definitely, maybe it did. Maybe it did help Nick DeVries with a more talented driver, putting it into points. But hey, Nicholas Latifi's going to be gone. DeVries is going to be AlphaTauri, so Williams won't have this option. But Williams, you can have Danny Rick, and that is definitely an upgrade over Latifi. Haas, you can have Danny Rick, and that is definitely an upgrade over Mick Schumacher, all right? But there you see the cooling louvers are gone here. So that is one thing that they did as far as an update. Haas, definitely coming in right here. Haas they didn't claim any changes, but I think there's a subtle change right there in that nick back there in that rear section of the floor. Also, just pointing out their fence sections. If you go back, look at past pictures, see how these things evolved over time. We know that Haas had been focused a lot on the front wing section, just on that little bit right there on the end plate, before they even did any real major upgrades. Like, that was their main focus, to just changing really small things. As they said, they were trying to get to know their car. I think the little nose section here for the breather hole for the driver changed a bit on the McLaren. I'm not sure if that front wing profile might have changed some. I doubt it, but I think that did change. Also, just pointing out the beam wing section here to look at, most teams are running them like this, where they got two elements kind of acting as one surface, versus how Red Bull came out with their variation, where they literally separated the beam wings to be two different surfaces. That at one point in time was questionable. I thought that it shouldn't be something that is going to be banned or outlawed, because I don't think they changed that much. Dario Duplin says to the chat and Wolfpack family, looking forward to the next year for Alpine with Gasly. I say Leclerc gets podium tomorrow. Dario coming with that smoke, saying that Leclerc gonna get that. Speak it. I feel you. So I think Charles can get it, but he gotta drive within his car's confinement. Charles, sometimes he get anxious. He get anxious and he just start pushing shit for no reason. Like, chill out, Charles. Don't get too anxious on him. Just relax a little bit. So then we got Also, I like the side profile of the McLaren with the design. They brought this out in Singapore. I still like it. I think it's a nice theme with the orange, the black, the hot or fuchsia. I think that's really cool looking. Their louvers are like extra nice and breathing. Like that engine is breathing a bit in there, unlike the Williams, reducing the cooling effect by closing off those louvers. And then here we go, just Red Bull, just checking out their profile, checking out their floor. Their floor is something that I definitely have liked since the beginning of the season. And I definitely had liked how pretty much their floor and their side pod make an alleyway for that air to come in there. And I think that's something that Adrian Newey foresaw when he was kind of designing this whole floor and the whole car in order to control airflow, which is something everybody's been focused on trying to control. Here is a clear example of what I was talking about with Red Bull and their beam wing setup, how they brought this out. If you notice, not like everybody else's, where the beam wings are two different elements, yet kind of so close it's almost one surface. As you see here, Red Bull completely separating those surfaces, acting as two complete different surfaces within the same area. That is something that Red Bull is doing different than other teams are doing, as you saw from the pictures. So right there is the updates. There are not a lot of updates. As far as teams, Red Bull, Mercedes, Alpine, McLaren, Haas didn't report any updates, right? But that doesn't mean they didn't make subtle changes to the car in order to kind of come in and be a little bit competitive, probably change things up a little bit. As we saw, like things were changed on the floor with Red Bull before, and they didn't declare it. They weren't on the list, but we knew damn well that the floors were different on both cars. So, you know, it's like hit and miss sometimes what these teams may or may not report. And I don't know if that's something they need to address. Like if you make a change to the car, it should be reported. If it's not an adjustment to a front wing, like as far as angle adjustment, if there's literally a component that changes shape, that you change the shape of, or a component that you added or removed, I feel that they should have to put that in on the updates. An update does not mean an upgrade. An update is not an upgrade until it literally manifests itself in a positive manner. So that's something there, okay? But we'll move on for that. Like I said, not many updates at all. Let's look at this. All of you all across the world are going to be viewing this race. Hopefully, I will be up in 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to be up in like 4 hours. So I'm going to take a quick nap, get up, cook French toast, and be ready for lights out. But many of you are going to be in different time zones. As you see, I will be viewing the race at 1 a.m. my time. 1 a.m. means I'm going to be up at midnight. I've been going hard this entire weekend trying to be here for y'all and be live and we'll talk to y'all and chop it up with y'all because I like kicking it with y'all. And if you notice other time zones, definitely a little bit more favorable on some of the areas than us. Usually, you know, we get the short end of the stick when it comes to this race, so it is what it is. And then we'll go ahead and get out of there. Now, let's check out something that's very interesting. What needs to happen in order for Max to clinch the championship at Suzuka in Japan? I feel it's going to happen. To me, I feel like it's going to happen. I don't know. I don't trust what Charles may do. I got to see him stay in there and keep his cool. A lot of times he don't keep his cool and things just kind of start going crazy and then he pushed the car beyond the means or what the track can handle. Remember, the street is the equalizer in all races. As much as traction is the equalizer, street is the equalizer. You can only put down as much power as the track or the street will take, especially with your tire compound. No, automate Teddy! What's going on? Rain, here I come. Please, pretty please. Merc has a rain setup, and we're going to get into that. Big shout out, Nall. Let me shout out the fam. Nall, one of our Tier 2 VIP family members. So, yeah, that we're going to get into that. So, no, stick around because I know you'll have some information. But pretty much they are anticipating Leclerc. Max has to clear Charles by 8 points, clear Perez by 6 points. The Perez situation, totally in their control. Totally in their control. And if there is any track that they're going to give Perez team orders, if he's in the 4th spot, it's going to be this track. I'm telling you, mark my words, if Charles is not doing what he is supposed to do, and he falls back to a position on average throughout this race that's not going to get him 8 points, which that's going to be pretty far back, and we already know Ferrari's good for a DNF or a totally screwed up strategy, which is very possible, Perez will get team orders to damn fade back, straight up, okay? So this is a view of probably what needs to happen in order for Max to go ahead and clinch that. Let's move on. This is very interesting, all right? This is a very interesting factor right here that we're looking at trap speeds. Like Nall was saying, they have a range setup, which really means they got a high downforce setup. Look at some of these speeds. They're at the bottom of the chart throughout these trap speeds, okay? Throughout these trap sections. Look at that. That tells you they're by far nowhere near. Look, 300 kilometers. They're down. I mean, look at that. That's not cool. That's not looking so great for them on a dry day. No rain, no nothing. I don't know if Mercedes was gambling that the weather was going to be inclement on race day, which it may be. But if it's not, everybody who thought Japan or Suzuka might be an opportunity for Lewis Hamilton to get his first win of the season, those hopes and dreams are shot. They are shot. I didn't anticipate Suzuka being one of those tracks where it was going to happen anyway. But they are definitely shot. I do not see him getting it. I do not see him getting the win so much unless inclement weather happens. I'm just telling you. But I'm going to see how many of you all think it can actually happen. Here we go. Poll in the chat. Don't dance on it. Just vote on it. Massacre, what's going on, bro? Let me check out this super chat from the king of super chats. Massacre says, Charles, my boy, needs to get his mojo back and show us what we all know he can do. Charles is a talented driver. I think Ferrari has failed him more than he has failed Ferrari. Charles has made his mistakes, no doubt. No doubt that Charles has made his mistakes. But like I was saying earlier, Charles, indeed, big shout out to you, Racer X210. Appreciate you taking care of that. Big shout out. And Dario, I know you stand by that. Dario, I got you marked. Brazil is where you say that first win is going to come. And I think that's a better opportunity than Japan. I just don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. But it could, especially if weather gets inclement and it rains. That could play into the setup that Mercedes is running right now a bit more. And then these trap speeds on wet track could change, right? We could see a push up. Could, right? And that's what sometimes you got strategists, you got engineers, everybody's in there trying to figure out what might happen. What's the percentages of it happen? Do we want to be prepared if this happen? We already kind of are not the fastest car on the grid, but if this does happen, what can we do to become one of the faster cars in this said situation? And I think Mercedes said to themselves, the weather could be inclement. We saw it all through practice. Except for qualifying. So that's 3 events so far out of 5 where we've seen rain on the track. And there were literally drivers were saying there are rivers out here on this track. So if that's going to be the case, maybe Mercedes is in a better position. But if that track is dry, they're not in a good position, as you see from these trap speeds. It's not going good for Mercedes with that. So nah. But let's go on down to this. Here we go. Suzuka race sets left. These are what the compounds, tires, how many sets these drivers have. You'll see that some of these are new. Some of these are also used. We're also going to check out the strategy that can be ran. So as you see right there, Hamilton on 3 used sets of softs. All right. Paired up with a split in the mediums. And there you go in the hards. Everybody pretty much hards except for over there. You got Latifi and Bottas. No, you got Bottas and Zhou from Alfa Romeo. Used set of hards. 1. They got a butt ton of softs over there. Brand spanking used. 1 new. The only person that has more used new soft tires is Stroll and K-Mag. They got 3. So everybody else has used softs, which is not really a big deal depending on how much to scrub, but we'll see what's up with that. But yeah, these are the tire sets for tomorrow that your drivers have available to them to use throughout this race in those compounds. And then this is the supposed tire strategy or possible race strategies that could take place starting out on the soft, going to the mediums, some progressing back to the softs, and then that's going to be your 2-stopper. Also, another 2-stopper would be going into the softs and then going into your medium, starting off with your soft, going into two mediums, closing out the race on a medium. And then we got a nice little different combination right there. Still a two-stopper, as they're saying. Starting off on the softs, go to the hard tire, take it as far as you can. And if, depending on what happens, safety cars or whatnot, if that hard tire is not going away from you, you come back in, get a soft, if you can get a cheap pit stop or whatnot. And then you got the one-stop, all right, strategy, which I only see probably maybe some of the lower competing teams, like maybe we might see Haas, we might see Williams. It might be even possible we see Alpine deploy the one-stop strategy. I don't think Alfa Romeo would do it, but it's possible. But starting off with the soft, taking that thing out there to no man's land, coming on in, and then going right on the hard tires to finish the race out, definitely managing until the end of the race. But that's pretty much, depending on what happens, safety cars, pits, cheat, all the yellow. It depends how many laps we do behind the safety car. All of that stuff can change the dynamics of the race strategy for these tire selections tomorrow. That may very well happen, okay? So we get to this hot topic. Here we go again. Danny Rick. I do not want to see Danny Rick go home. I do not want to see Danny Rick on a couch for 2023. I don't. I want to see him on the grid. He deserves to be on the grid. And there are literally two teams that should not be so damn picky as they could turn their nose up at Danny Ricciardo for not allowing him to sit in on a seat. You literally had Latifi and Mick Schumacher. Do not tell me that Danny Rick is not a clear upgrade over those two drivers to replace to sit in a seat for those two teams. Okay? Don't give me that. If Danny Rick sits out, it should really just be because he wants to sit out, and it may very well be that he's looking to retire. He's not looking to stay in Formula One. Maybe he's looking to go and do other things. This may very well be the case. It might not be if something's available. He might not care if it's available, and that would be crazy to have Seb and Rick retire in the same season if Danny Rick comes out and says that. If he literally comes out and says he's retiring versus he's just taking a year off. I think him taking a year off is a mistake. It's kind of like you're not using it, you lose it. You can definitely get it back when you come back. But in this era, in these next, 4 years, so much is going to be changing. If Danny Rick sits out 1 year, there's a lot changing over time where that's going to put him further back than if things weren't changing, if we weren't right here on the very tip of the nose of a new regulations era. I mean, we literally got the MGUH coming out. Everybody next season is going to be getting acclimated to all the data that they collected, all the things that they've done, all the experiments they've ran, tunnel times, all of this stuff to develop a better variation of this car going into 2023. And Danny Rick's going to miss that. G5 MDS, we flying 20% and below of rain on Sunday. Well, I could tell you this, 20% over here, if it's 20%, it might just happen. It might just happen. I'm just saying 20% is, and when it comes to rain, it's like saying that you get some drizzle, next thing you know, you got a downpour. Now, how long that lasts for is something totally different. But like I said, I don't think Danny Rick needs to sit at home. I think he needs to go ahead, stay on the grid, because if we can see things like this happening, Haas, like, come on now. As an American team and as an American campaigning for a better situation for an American team on the grid, please go talk to Danny right now. Go talk to Daniel right now and let him know Mick is gone. We want you to come drive for us for at least a 1+1, maybe that. It gives you some time to explore your options if another team wants you. But come drive for us. Don't go sit home. Don't go sit home, Danny. You don't need to go home. There's enough bullcrap out here where there's no reason Danny needs to go sit home. 67% of you all said yes, you think Lewis Hamilton can get one in less than 5 hours' time at Suzuka. Ooh, I'm not sure about that one. If it rains, an opportunity. If it doesn't rain, no. In this poll, I'm going to ask you this poll. I'm going to ask you this one, see what you all say, and see what you think about this. So new poll in the chat. Don't dance on it. Just vote on it. Do you think Danny Rick should sit out 2023? That's what I want to ask you. Do you all think Danny Rick should sit out for the 2023 season? Do you think that that's a good idea? I want to see what y'all say. I want to see the percentages on this poll. Do you think it's a good idea that Danny Rick, Blue Diva, what's going on? Do you think it's a good idea that Danny Rick go home and sit out an entire season missing testing, missing meetings, missing all the things that go on to prepare you going in 2023, missing an entire race season, 24 races, 6 sprints? We're even getting more races next year. That means he's going to miss more races. The new track, he's going to miss Vegas. If Danny Rick is not here, one of the prominent people that were so excited about Las Vegas, he's going to miss it. I mean, he might be there, but he ain't going to be on the paddock like he should be on the paddock. He's not, but maybe he enjoys Vegas more that way. I don't know, maybe. But thank you. I think that is 78% say no. I don't think he should either. I really don't. I do not think he should. I think it's a mistake. Thank you. G5, you said it. That's never good. That's not a good situation. You need to stay in practice. At minimum, maybe go race in another series or something. Maybe go race Indy. But you got to stay in practice, like going and just sitting home on the couch. Danny Rick just might as well say he's done with racing. That's what you might as well do. You might as well just say you're done with racing. You don't need to do that. Even Giovinazzi went to Formula E. Come on, Danny. Don't just go home and sit on the couch and don't do nothing. Massacre! Latifi lost his seat to someone who didn't end up at Williams. Ooh, that's smoke. Laugh out loud. I wonder how he feeling. No, damn. That shit went up on me too fast. Galacticus came in. Let me see what this shit says. I wonder how he feels knowing he defined last year's championship and caused Lewis to extend his career. Latifi. Crash Tiffy. Hey, I told y'all, Mesker is like king with this super chat thing. With the smoke, for real. Latifi is like, I'm telling you, Latifi literally got showed up by somebody who had never had a Formula One race. First race ever, showed Williams like, he ain't it. He ain't it, and I ain't trying to be it for y'all. Going over to AlphaTauri, which I don't know. I definitely better situation than going to Williams, so I'm not even mad at Nick's decision. Like, going to AlphaTauri was a better situation for him, puts him in a better car, does some other things, too, that maybe some people aren't thinking about, if you really think about it. But, yeah, Danny needs to go to Williams. Hey, I agree, Galacticus. I agree. I do agree. I think he should go to Williams. And Williams, why would you not take Danny? Why would you not take Danny? If you've been holding on to Latifi all this time, why would you not take Danny? I mean, I understand you was getting that Birkin bag pay with keeping Latifi, but damn, he wasn't doing squat for you. And Haas, I know y'all running up a gravy ticket with Mick tearing up these cars. I know y'all build high. As hell. So anyway, just thought we'd get on, go over these real minimized updates by the teams, talk about the Danny Rick situation. Once I saw he was talking about basically he's going to retire or basically he's not going to come in for the 2023 season, I think the reality is now I won't be on the grid 2023. I do not feel that at all. I don't feel that at all, man. I think that's such a bad idea. That is such not great. That's not a good situation for him. So, and y'all evidently agree. 73% of y'all said that y'all also don't agree. So before we even tap out of here, let's cover this because we are going to look at this one more time. Right now, as it sits, if Max clears Charles by 8 points, Perez by 6, he clinches the 2022 championship tomorrow in about, 5 hours' time. No, less than that. It's going to be less than that. 3 hours time. I'm going to be up tomorrow in Suzuka, Japan, celebrating Honda. Going to have a big party. They're going to have a big party. But it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. And guaranteed, if Charles is not up on him in second, and he's back in those 8 points. Perez is getting team orders to bring that RB18 to mid back out of points. Like, bring it on back. Go on and you can get 10, but don't get no higher than that, Perez. Don't do it, or you know what's up. You know what's up, Perez. You know what's going on. Don't do it. So yeah, those team orders will come across. I'm very confident in that. All right, let me see. We got another super chat. It is no. Why would Haas take Giovinazzi or Hulkenberg over Danny Boy? That's crazy. Yo, no. You are not lying. Why in the hell would they do that? Why would they do that? Only the reason I can think that they do that is if Danny's trying to come in and demand that bag again. And Danny, you not getting that bag no more, bro. You messed up your big bags. You got the big bags already. You got them twice. You got your money, and you didn't live up to that money. And that's a fact. Danny did not live up to that money. So good thing you got paid. I'm all for people getting paid. But now, bro, you might have to not get that check to really prove yourself to get back up there in the good graces of the racing gods. Because right now, you're not there. But only way I can see them saying no to Danny is if he's still trying to demand $20+ million per season. He's not that no more. Danny, you're going to have to bring it on down. I'm talking about like 15 range, bro. Because your body of work thus far ain't been that great, but you still way better than Latifi or Mick. You still better than a few drivers on the grid right now. Messiker, I can see why he chose not to stay, because if Danny fails to beat Albon, he's done. Ooh, that's a good point. If he can't beat K-Mag, he's done. But beating them is expected. That's true, right? So this is true in these situations. This is true in these situations, right? When somebody's in a situation like, let me give you your props, bro. Oh, by the way, new emoji up. I got the honey buns on deck. Messiker cooking. So there are situations where you could accept a fight, accept a challenge, right? And because that challenger yet has an established record or reputation, it's really a win-win for them. It's a win because they're going to be recognized for getting the opportunity to fight you, which probably proved that they deserved it or have done something to deserve it. If they lose to you, it's not a big deal because then they feeling like, we kind of didn't expect you to win, so it doesn't damage your reputation because we didn't expect it. If they beat you, they have an insurmountable jump in market value, and you lose a little bit of credibility. It's more of a loss for you. So Messiker makes a very good point. If Danny goes to Williams or Haas and he cannot outperform teammates being Albon or teammate being K-Mag, that's not a good look at all. I know, hey, Blue Diva, she going to be so happy. I told her I was going to have that thing on deck. I told her I was going to have that honey bun on deck, that honey bun emoji on deck. Matter of fact, all members, I think we have another slot because we have over 70 members. We have another slot for an emoji. I will post a Q&A or a question in the members chat for you all to try to decide what kind of emoji would you like me to come up with next, and I'll start developing that emoji. So, yeah, that very good point, Mesko. That is a very good point. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good look for him. You're absolutely right about that. Absolutely right. Very bad look for him if that does happen. So, I'm going to go. It's 8. It is 2000 here, which means I literally have 4 hours before I get up. And just recently, like I said, had this situation here. I got some things to do. I'm going to try to get a little nap, get up, get this French toast on deck. It's race day. It's race time, and we're going to be in here live kicking it. I will be live for finale lap, just like any race Sunday post the race. Don't try me. I don't give a damn if nobody's here. I'm going to be here. So if you need some place to come party, you need some place to come sit and chill, come to the Wolfpack family house. We're going to be here on race day like any other day. Right? Hey, we going to be here. We going to be up. We going to be turned too. So I'm going to be turned up. No, Automated Teddy says it's better to take a chance, Danny, than leave and never come back. There is still a chance. And no, that is also a good point. That is also a good point. And it goes hard both ways, right? He's got things he has to weigh out right now. Like not being on the grid 2023 with the body of work that you last left are teams really going to be looking at you to come back 2024 with how much is going to change next season? A lot's going to change going into 2023. A lot. Are teams really going to be looking at Danny Rick like, yo, we want to bring you back 2024? Bro, you better take at minimum that reserve role so you can stay in a garage somewhere where if a driver gets sick, like what happened to Albon, if Albon didn't go out, does Nick DeVries get the opportunity that he got in the race to show the grid what he could do with a Williams car? Does he get that opportunity? No. But he doesn't get that opportunity if he's not there. Danny, take a reserve driver role. If Nico can be traveling around the goddamn grid, driving part-time time for people, Danny, you could do it. Don't go sit him on the couch. Be available. The best ability is availability. If you're not available, it's not good for you. Take, what's that, XD, Dario, what's Dario, what's Reeves talking about? What's he talking about? Let me see what Reeves say. Reeves, what gun? Oh, bro, that piece right there it's not XD, but Dario is right. It is Springfield. It is the Springfield Marines Corp 1911 45 ACP, skeleton trigger and all, skeleton hammer, all the good bells, works, and whistles. That's what that is. It is not an XD, but it is Springfield. Dario, you were very, very close, sir. I might gotta watch you. You saw that Easter egg, Reeves. I seen you that 1911. Let me tell you something. A 1911 is not a 1911 unless it's in 45 ACP. If you got a 1911 frame and it's in 9mm, you don't have a 1911. You got a 9. That's what you got. You got a 9. 1911 45 ACP, the only way to have it. Sean, what's going on? Let me see what you got going on right there. Let me see what you got going on. Danny needs to stay and step up. That's his best chance. Sean, I agree. If you weren't, I don't know if you were here earlier, but Messiker also made a good point. He said that he doesn't want to go to those teams and end up failing by not being able to be that number one driver over K-Mag or Albon would probably not do good for his stock value. But I'm going to also say it's not going to do good for your stock value, definitely not being in Formula One. So that's what we talking about. That's what we, that's what many of us are saying, and there are good points on both sides. Like, don't leave, but if you stay. But at the same time, I think it's a bigger thing to stay because if you go and compete at Williams or Haas and you don't do better than Albon or K-Mag, then that tells you that it might be time for you to walk on out because you've made an extensive regression. You're on a downward trend for real. You've come from here and have slid right down a slippery slope of ice, oil, and baby oil all on your body. And, Danny, you just went straight to hell, basically. That would tell you, Danny, it might be time for me to retire. If I can't show that I'm a better driver than Albon or K-Mag or do more for a team than Latifi or Mick Schumacher, it's probably time for Danny to go. That's how I feel about it. So I think him staying says that. I think him staying, he finds out more about himself, and we find out more about Danny than him not being around, and it just kind of being left up for question. So I just, I think he needs to be. He does. Oh yeah, okay. I tell you what, Blue Diva. You want the XD44 Panther? I tell you what, tomorrow. Tomorrow for race day for finale lap, I will bring out the XD44 Panther tribute edition piece tomorrow for tomorrow's race. I will do that. I got you. I will make note to get that. Hey, Siri. Mm-hmm. Set an alarm for 2300 to get the XD piece.
You'll get the XD piece alarm. It is set for 2300.
I got you. Alarm set. I'm getting that. Believe it. Got you. Yeah. But I ain't hating on the 19mm owners. I ain't hating. I'm just saying it ain't that. But yeah, hopefully Danny. I think right now, Danny's in a situation mentally. He's in his head. I think he's in a bad place mentally, and I think he's responsible for putting himself there. Danny's responsible for putting himself there. I think if Danny would have stuck in there like he initially planned to do with Renault, which Alpine came and took over, still with the Renault engine, because that's what Alpine is. I think Danny not only would have been in a better environment for his personality, I think he would have been in a more supportive environment for his racing style. I think he would have been in an environment with a team who would have definitely developed a car built for him. And then I think he definitely would have had a better driving partner being Ocon. I think Danny left Renault way too early. I think he left way too early. I think he messed himself up, and then he got there, went on a kind of a downward spiral, conflicts in McLaren with the whole driver situation. Then he ends up here with the whole thing. They're trying to get Piastri, and Danny's right there in the garage. I think that really has messed with him, and I think mentally Danny's kind of checking out. Danny, don't check out. Don't check out, bro. It's not over. Do not check out. Get yourself together. Finish out this season. Matter of fact, use the rest of this season to get yourself together. Go out on race day and be aggressive. Go out on race day and do your strategies. Go out on race day and demand certain things and just do it. Get yourself back together. You're not going to be at McLaren next season anyway. Just go do it, bro. Do anything besides going home and sitting on the couch. Just do that. I see you right there. Hold on, I'm about to go up. Got a family member. David G, welcome to the Wolfpack family. I see you with that Australia. I see you with that flag representing. We got Piastri, Danny Ray. I'm just telling you. There we go. Welcome to the family. New family member. Big shout out. Let me give you the damn Lewis Hamilton Seb tribute. Welcome. Welcome, David. We are happy to have you. Our family is growing strong. Make sure, David, you now have access to custom emoji. Lincoln Clay. Hey, bro, right there be getting to the waist. Let's see how the FIA help out. Very scratchy. God damn. Oh, my gosh, that is a good one. Don't hate on the nameplate, y'all. Come on now. With all the Hamilton and Cry Hamilton and Louie and Lulu shit we get around here, come on, y'all. Don't hate on that. That's a good-ass combination. Very scratch-ass on this race. Yo, I got to give you a golden super chat for that one. Lincoln, that right there was a cold piece. You cold, bro. You cold. But yeah, Danny Rick, don't go home. Do what you got to do. I don't think it's over for you. And I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm going to be live like finale lap for the race. Post the race, we going to be here. Covering all the light. And you know, I got that podium bottle on deck just in case. It's in the fridge chilling, getting ready just in case Merck decides to get a podium. So if I got to get drunk at 2:45, 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, you know, that's y'all. That's Merck's fault and that's y'all fault. But I will have the podium bottle on deck just in case. That's going to be crazy drinking that early in the morning. I'm definitely going to go to sleep after that. All right, so the Wolves Den meet will be scheduled later on that day. Probably to give everybody, because like we seen Cam, he wasn't even up. Some people might not be up. They might watch the race when they wake up. So we'll schedule the Wolves Den for like 10 a.m. All right, so we can go ahead and go in there and do our talks. Plus, we got to have a meeting on some things that took place, so y'all need to be there for that. But, yeah, that was some funny shit, Lincoln. That was a good one. That was a good one. And it should be 5, y'all. Got y'all bottles already on deck, so, you know, I sent those bottles out. Galacticus is getting the trivia award. I'm going to start doing that every other quality watch or so. I'm going to hold like 3 trivia questions, and then whoever answers those questions, or I'll do 1 or I'll do 3 too. The third one will be the one that counts. And whoever answers that question the fastest with a super chat will get the package that I'm sending out. And I'm sending a Galactus package. It's either going to go out tomorrow or to go out Monday, but it will go out. So big shout out to y'all. I'm going to see y'all soon. See y'all for the race. Don't play around. I'm going to be here, all right? All right, peace.